Hello, 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 and welcome back to our World Cup group series as we break all down through the groups that in the World Cup as we run up to this wonderful tournament that's coming on here in June and July in 2026. I'm going to be discussing and breaking down Group F with myself, Gary Stryker, and the Hooligan with his Dutch shirt on, with his connections and his Dutch connections. We are going to be talking through it. But as always,
in a
before we get on with
completely
it,
unbiased way.
Yeah, well, I'll have to check you on your bias there as well. But if you want to go and read more from the Hooligan and sometimes myself, hooligan-soccer.com is where you can go and get all the musings and the ramblings as we go through and build up to the World Cup. And of course, like, follow, subscribe as we continue on this series, and know that we will be doing daily breakdowns and daily recordings as we go through to the World Cup. So it's going to be busy, busy, busy. Okay, Hooligan, we have 4 teams, and we were just discussing, we have 4 teams of the Netherlands, Holland, Japan, Tunisia, and now we have discovered Sweden, who got through on the UEFA pathway. I can't remember exactly which pathway, but they did qualify.
Doesn't really matter, but yes.
No, but not really. But exactly.
They did manage to eke in, which made them the first team to ever qualify for the World Cup without winning a qualifying match.
Sweden did, didn't they? Yes, they drew and lost a load.
They drew 2, they lost 4, were in last place. But because of the UEFA's Byzantine system of qualifications, won the Nations League pathway through Group A, and therefore got themselves into the playoff contention and, well, got the business done. I mean, I guess that's what it comes down to, is if you do the business, you get the ticket.
Play.
And they did the business and they got the ticket.
It's also worth noting that they switched manager out, isn't they? Sort of like 3/4 of the way through this campaign, brought in Graham Potter, ex-Brighton Chelsea manager, who made his way by taking a Swedish lower league team all the way up through and got them into the Europa League, I believe. And he looks like a genius now. He looks like an absolute genius, Graham Potter.
Yeah,
so
I mean, no, you're right. Actually, I can't contest that one. I mean, prior to their terrible qualifying campaign, they won their last 2 friendlies against Hungary and Sweden back in June of 25, and then proceeded to completely and utterly flail, drawing Slovenia, losing to Kosovo and Switzerland twice. Right, so they drew Slovenia twice, they lost to Switzerland and Kosovo twice, and then still managed to get in and beat the Ukraine, and then beat Poland, and didn't win it through penalties. They did it legit, old school style, by actually putting goals in the net.
In real time, yes.
Yeah.
Not extra time.
No, I think there might have been extra time in Poland. I think there was extra time, but it didn't go to kicks on the mark. That's the key thing.
Okay. Breaking down some of the countries here. So Netherlands have always been the almost country. I mean, despite having quite a small population relatively to a lot of the other countries, they've been to 3 World Cup finals in their history and lost all 3 of them. That was in 74, 78, and in 2010 in South Africa, when they lost to Spain to an extra time goal in Spain.
Thanks for that reminder.
Yeah, Japan both knocked out Germany and Spain in the 2022 group stages. So Japan, we'll get into Japan and break them down. They are not to be messed with. And then, of course, looking at Tunisia as well. And Tunisia are also a very, very competent side as well, with a lot of quality players as well. So I think we were just discussing and saying this. I think we're going to go ahead and classify this as a group of death, because it's a hard one to call. Right? It is. There are no easy matches.
Yeah, no, this is a very challenging, very tough, very cagey and savvy group. I don't think most countries choose to play Japan willingly at all, because I've seen them play. I saw them play against Mexico in a friendly here in California. They're so disciplined, but also creative at the same time. And I think that's one of their best bits. They have the ability to do some really intricate passing. They make excellent runs off the ball, and they're just very diligent and stodgy in the back. So it's like, yeah, good on them. I think they're going to be great. The Dutch are the Dutch. Always potentially good, generally will let you down. I can't think of the last time they failed to clear a group stage of any tournament. That's very, very rare for them. So to rule them out, I think, is a mistake. I think they will definitely qualify. I think Tunisia was a factor, a big factor in this. Before Sweden came in, Tunisia even had the outside chance of maybe making a run. Now that Sweden's in here, unfortunately, I think Tunisia's role is now reduced to spoiler. They're the team that all the other countries are going to go, oh God, now you have to play Tunisia. I just want to get something out of this. Right? We got to get something out of this. We can't let Tunisia come through and knock us out, right? Remember, all 4 out of the 5 North African countries qualified for this World Cup, right? The only one that didn't is Libya, which actually doesn't have a very strong tradition of soccer, whereas all the other countries, they do. You've got Egypt, you've got Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. Fact, Tunisia is the weakest of the 4, excuse me, right? So they are, without a doubt, the one that is the least strong. It could have been far worse. If this group had Morocco in it, or if this group had Egypt in it, or even Algeria, this would have been a true 100% group of death. Wow. As it is, it's still a group of death. The death's just a little lighter on some edges, because I do expect the Netherlands and Japan to be able to beat Tunisia, right? I even think Sweden will be able to handle them. And so the question will become, who can Tunisia draw against? Because that's what's going to be the deciding factor in this whole group. Isn't so much who beats who, it's who Tunisia surprises and ties. Because whoever that team is the one that doesn't advance, more than likely. And then, of course, you've got all your head-to-head with all the other teams too. But I think it's the games against Tunisia that will decide this particular group.
Yeah,
right.
Interesting. Wonderful analysis, Hooligan. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's break down some of the players then. Let's start with Tunisia and see, and just in terms of sort of any young plus starlets coming up. I mean, just looking through their roster, they've got this 21-year-old who plays for PSG under 21 named Khalil Ayari. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Ayari. He looks quite promising and quite exciting. I'm just trying to think of any other sort of like that sort of jump out at me. They've got a good mix of experience.
He's not been rostered with Tunisia, to my knowledge.
Really? Okay.
No,
I haven't.
No,
I haven't.
He is Tunisian, but I don't believe that I'm not sure that he's had a senior call up. At least he hasn't had a senior call up, and all of my data is based on the last groups of friendlies, and he was called up.
If he's not been called up, he's on my list, a list of Tunisians as well that could be potentially interesting in that age. But so we'll see.
I mean, yes, he's young, he's Tunisian, but that doesn't mean that he's been playing. You'd have to check to see if he's had any recent call-ups for the senior team. If he hasn't, he's not likely to get a senior call-up at something this big. I just don't know what his status is.
Yeah, well, we'll see if he gets called up and whether he gets on the plane or not. Any other players from then Tunisia that jump out at you that are worth tracking and following?
Tunisia's fairly young. As a team, it sits on the younger side, right? There are very few players over 30 that have been called up with them before. The ones that have they're still on the younger side. So, for example, you've got this guy named Mohamed Amin Ben Hamida, who plays for the insanely vociferously supported L'Espérance de Tunis, which is the strongest club in Tunisia. And he's a back, sometimes a center back, leans towards the left side. I've watched him play, really still at 30, deliciously pacey, able to make that run up that left side and put in some dangerous crosses. But he's not on the young. But yeah, out of the young ones, it's hard to say. You don't get a chance to see them very often because they play for smaller clubs. The Tunisians aren't going around and getting big time starts at big time clubs. Looking around, San Diego FC, interestingly, has a young Tunisian player, a striker, who's 17 years old. He's not going to,
right? You don't think he makes it?
Yes, he's been called up, but I don't think he's going to play all that much. Same thing for the Whitecaps. They've got a name him Ryan Elumi. So I think it's really difficult to say because I just don't have the experience in watching a lot of these players play week in and week out.
Okay. All right, let's move on to Sweden then. I mean, Sweden, looking through them on the surface, actually do have quite a good representation of sort of the high-level teams and high-level European teams in particular as well.
Oh yeah. These are all first division, first tier, top tier players.
Yeah, I mean, of course, just looking at their strikers, they've got obviously Victor Gyökeres, who was at Sporting Lisbon and now plays for Arsenal and is doing well.
Well, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't be here because he scored 4 of their 6 goals. He scored 4 of their 6 goals during the playoff phase.
He's definitely carried them through. Yeah. It is also worth mentioning as well that they do have Alexander Isak, who has been sustained quite a nasty, I think it was an ACL or sort of had something quite serious, an ankle injury maybe. I'm not sure
he's
exactly
back,
on the
and
exact
he's
one.
back, and he will be playing.
But
so
that's
yeah,
it. He's started to come back. So we don't know what kind of form and fitness he'll be in terms of that. So in terms of starting, and then they do also have this Barcelona striker, Rooney Bargji, sorry, forgive the pronunciation. Small little right wing, small little right winger.
Bargji.
Yeah. And Anthony Elanga as well, who plays for Newcastle as well. So that's like 4 serious strikers who play for sort of top level Champions League teams. So they are mobile going forward and they can do some damage.
Yeah. Rooney's a good call because he never plays for Barcelona, just so you know. He hardly ever gets
he's
spots.
competing with Lamine Yamal, so he's not.
No, I know. But it's a good shout because these are the occasions where if he gets that opportunity with Sweden,
which he
this
will,
is where he gets to go and make his name for himself on the global stage, right? So yeah, I think it's a good call. It would be hard. I'm looking through this game. I'm hard pressed to think of a chance of when he might get to do that unless somebody else gets injured, only because every game in this group matters. There are no easy games where a manager can go, okay, I can start some of the B teams and maybe slot in some more experienced players later if we need it. This is a game where you have to, Potter knows, you got to put the A team in on every time.
Core press every game, which is going to be challenging.
100%, right?
And then the other interesting thing is the suspension angle as well. Of like you pick up the couple of yellow cards in the first 2 games, that's it. You're out for the third as well. So I think that's where he will be able to feature and will be able to get some game time.
Interestingly, and I have yet to prove this, but I'm pretty confident it'll be the case. Sweden also has the tallest defensive line in the entire World Cup. The average height of Sweden's center defense is like 6'3".
Yeah, 6'2", 6'3", right? Yeah, look at
it's
that.
Pretty high. It's pretty high. These guys are all really, really tall in the back.
Tall Swedish Vikings. Yeah, Gabriel Gudmundsson is the only one who's under 6 feet at 5'11". Everyone else is 6'1", 6'2", 6'4". Yeah,
and even he's not a center back. He's a wing back. So it's like that. You don't even need height as a wing back, right?
Yeah.
No, their shortest player is a guy named Yasin Ayari, who plays for Brighton. He's 5'8". So, I don't think, and that's it. Everybody else is pretty much over 6 feet. And it's worth noting they have a bench warmer named Gustav Nielsen who plays for Club Brugge, who's 6'6", and is probably 6'7" on a good day. So it's it's like they're big. There's big people up there. Right?
Yeah. Okay. The only factor that I can think of that could be sort of damaging, or not when I say damaging, as we've discussed, is the weather factor. And I'm just looking at this. They are playing their opening game. Sweden played their opening game in Monterrey. So that's not so bad. And then they play in Houston, which is going to be a little bit challenging just in terms of weather-wise as well. These Swedes are not going to be cut out for this 100-degree sort of plus weather. And then TNT say, okay, they're playing the third game in TNT, so they'll be covered. So the third game will be inside and sort of air controlled, but that will be a potential.
I mean, Monterrey at that time is hot and humid. It's also high. That's the thing is that Monterrey actually has that combination because it sits at like 4,000 or 5,000 feet. Mm-hmm. So it's got that combination of like high altitude and it gets bloody hot.
And it gets humidity, so that could be a concern for definitely for the Swedes.
There's no humidity in Monterrey, son. Have you ever been to Monterey? There's no humidity in Monterey. It's called high desert.
But just sorry, heat. Well, you're right. Dry humidity as well. It's dry heat. Yes, you're right. Yeah. But still,
Houston will have humidity. Now Houston's different. Houston's like playing in a swamp. It's like playing in a sauna. It's horrible.
In the bayou. Yeah, sticky old Houston.
Like,
okay, let's move over to Japan.
Let's go to
Japan. It's just worth noting now, I'm just going to read you through. Japan have won their last 5 games that they've played in, and they have not been easy games. They've beaten Brazil, Ghana, Bolivia, Scotland, and England.
Yeah.
All convincingly.
Yeah.
And the only team to score against them was Brazil back in even 2025. So they have not conceded a goal internationally. Yeah, as you mentioned before, Japan, I in the last World Cup, I was at that Japan-Germany game where everyone was expecting Germany to come over and sort of beat them. And they won I think they won 2-1 and with a late counterattack. But you're right, they are organized, they are disciplined, and they work together as a cohesive unit, as a team. So the interlinking passing is just a thing of beauty to watch. And these are, even though, and then surprisingly, look at that. Japan ranked number 18 by FIFA rankings in the world. They are the 18th ranked team, and fully deserved there. Hey,
I mean, yeah. And again, a team with almost no youth. They are all mid to upper 20s, most of them. So that means they're savvy, right? They're seasoned. This is not a group that just comes out and is like, no, they're all pretty trialed, right? Yeah, they know what's going on. I mean, you're gonna sit there and you got who do you want to look here? I mean, shoot, who do you pick? Kaoru Matoma, Daisen Maeda, right? Out of Celtic. These guys are both, incredible. The one thing that they do lack, I will say this, outside of Ayase Ueda, they do lack a true striker, right? They don't have Maeda and Matoma are not strikers. They are
forwards.
They're outdoor. They're like outside techie guys,
attackers,
who like to confuse you and dribble around you and get you slightly off while they put the ball in. I mean, Ueda's good. He strikes. I mean, and he can be very efficient. Then that's not to say that none of these guys can finish. They can all finish on the day, right? I think you'll get to see a good amount of Ao Tanaka, who plays for Leeds United. Obviously, Daichi Kamada from Crystal Palace will sit there in the middle. Those two guys are going to basically be your two anchors in the center, right? Midfield center. And then I think most people would be hard-pressed to name a Japanese defender, but they're all very good.
Yeah,
right? They're all very strong. They're all very tall.
Hikori Ito for Bayern, 6'2". Look at that! Wow. Yeah,
no, these are not.
Tomiyasu.
The backline for Japan is not. And then, of course, let's talk about their goalkeeper, because that guy is insane. Zion Suzuki.
Yeah.
And for those people who are going to watch Japan for the first time, yes, he is African. Yes, he is African. His mother was from Brazil, I believe.
Okay.
And so, that guy is fantastic. He is a really, really good goalkeeper. And has made some incredible saves both against England and Scotland, I think, to catch people's notice. And their coach, Hajime Moriyasu, is a genius. He's an absolute, he coached Mexico. Yeah. So he's a Japanese guy who coached the Mexican national team. So he's been around for a long time. He's really, really smart, savvy, gets it. So they're going to be, got to watch out for them.
Japan have everything going for them. They do. They have the form, they have the players, they have the unit as a team, and they have an experienced squad as well. So this is, they would have learned from the last one.
I actually think Japan is out of this group. I'm picking Japan and the Netherlands to be my two that are coming out of this group. I think Sweden's going to be difficult, annoying, but they're not going to make it ultimately.
I think Japan could even top this group, to be perfectly honest, just the way they play.
There is a universe in which that happens, but I'm going to forgive you for your outburst and your sheer insanity.
Crimes against the Netherlands, is that what it is? How dare we say something so bad? Yeah. Okay, so let's move to your beloved Lowlanders, the Netherlanders as well.
I mean,
where do we start?
I mean, it's the Dutch, right? It doesn't matter who's wearing the orange. Right. Everybody knows what that means. Everybody knows what that. If you've grown up in the Netherlands, you get it. Right. You just understand. It's just something that is. So you know where you're going in. You know what your role is. Now that doesn't mean that everybody always does that well, and it doesn't always mean that they're particularly coached well. Right. Ronald Koeman is about as good a coach as they will have. He's a legend as a player. He may not have worked out at Barcelona that one time, but he's pretty solid. And then it's just a question of who do they have that's healthy, right? Because the Dutch play in all the big divisions, so they get beat up a lot. And so the good news is that he's got a deep roster to pick from. The bad news is that most of these guys hardly ever play with each other. There is a Dutch style of play, right, which is based a lot on the youth academy systems, and so most of them have all gone through that, and so they know what their roles are.
Is this the total football style, the Johan Cruyff style of total football?
That's still the academy system that Ajax uses, that all the young Dutch players learn,
and it's all
ingrained in them from the time they're 4.
Yeah, of course. And this came from Johan Cruyff, who was an Ajax legend, and then he moved to Barcelona, became a Barcelona legend,
He
became the
started.
director of
He
football.
basically he turned Barcelona into a legend.
Exactly. So that total football, the tiki-taka, is the brainchild of Johan Cruyff and the way he played. And
Correct.
the biggest
Yeah.
disciple of Johan Cruyff is Pep Guardiola. So now when we see those sort of tiki-taka, even in the way Man City play, it is all because of Johan Cruyff and because of this total footballing philosophy, which is keep the ball, short, sharp passing, lots of goals, and keep and sort of possession-based.
Yeah, I
attacking
mean,
football.
ideally, like one of the more famous World Cup goals of all time is 1972 when they played Germany. After kickoff, they passed the ball 13 touches. Germany never touched the ball. Balls in the net.
Balls in the net, yeah.
That's a classic example of the total football style. They just kept moving the ball around, finally saw a weakness, and boom, go in. Now, that said, the Netherlands also has its share of shockingly good individual finishers too, right? Marco van Basten with one of the most famous goals, not from the World Cup, but from the Euros, where he took a ball on an absolutely impossible angle and spun it around. At that time, the best goalkeeper in the world for Russia, and scored.
Ruud Gullit as well.
Ruud Gullit had some amazing things. So it's like they've got all that, and I gotta say the current crop of forwards doesn't necessarily fit into that extremely amazing role.
So,
but they're all very good. You can slot Cody Gakpo, right? Memphis Depay, Brian Brobby, right? Any one of those three could sit there in the center, but they can also go to the outside. Then you've got the big guy, Wout Weghorst, can barely move. It's just, but
he's a target
really,
man.
really good.
6'6",
getting himself in the position to score the goal, right?
And he does that. And he was the main instigator in the last World Cup against Argentina. I believe it was the semis. I think it was the Argentina where there was a sort of, he came on, Louis van Gaal, the manager at the time, brought him on. They were sort of 2-0 down. They came on, they got the 2 goals through. I think he got a penalty and through some, and then there was a bit of a kerfuffle afterwards as well. But looking at this
there's always
squad,
a kerfuffle when the Dutch are playing. They get under everybody's skin. They know all the dark arts, and they
do know the dark arts. There's always a lot of history with Argentina. They always meet in sort of somewhere in the quarters or the semis, and it's always a game of the tournament. I remember France '98. There was Bergkamp scored that incredible goal against the Argentines, and then of course the last World Cup and the World Cup before they played each other. It was great viewing.
No, if the Dutch are playing Spain, Argentina, or Germany, it's going to be a fireworks affair because those are the 3 teams that they lost to in World Cup finals. So there's always additional pressure on that one.
Yeah.
Right.
So just looking through, I mean, their midfield as well, they've got that Tajani Reinders who plays for Man City now, who I think is fantastic. I'm a big fan of him as well.
And while Tottenham aren't great, they've got 2 good players in Mickey van de Ven on the left side and Xavi Simons, in the middle.
Yeah. And then defenders, of course, they've got big Virgil van Dijk, obviously, who we all know, and then his partner as well, Frimpong. And then, they have Timber as well, of course, who plays for Arsenal.
Yeah, Jurgen Timber plays for Arsenal. He's currently injured, but he should be back. And then
Ake,
in addition to that,
City.
you've got Jean-Val van Hecke from Brighton. You've got Nathan Ake, who's always going to be employed as a wingback when
he's a wingback,
possible.
yeah. But he'll compete with Frimpong then because they're both similar players then, weren't they? As those sort of bombing
but Frimpong is generally a right back. Ake prefers to play on the left.
Ake's on the left. Oh, wow. See, okay, that's
correct. Yeah,
dangerous.
I mean, here's the thing:
good.
all of these defenders for the Netherlands can slot into central defending roles if necessary, but they can also play just as dangerously on the back. The only pure center backs that they have are De Vrij, right, from Inter, Van Hecke from Brighton, and Van Dijk from Liverpool. The rest can all slot into other areas.
Yeah. And that's, as you say, from that total footballing sort of ball playing sort of position as well, where they like to play out from the back and sort of can rotate and play in different squads. Who would you say are there any sort of, it doesn't seem, just looking at the average age, I think Xavi
they don't have a young
youngest.
squad at all. They don't have any teenagers on their side. No, and
no
they're not
teenagers,
bring any. Yeah.
And you don't think, there's no
the World Cup
is, Dutch
the
stars
Dutch
coming.
don't put young players in that position. The Dutch have just as many young opportunities for them in the U20s and the U22s. They don't need to bring them up into this unless they're truly exceptional. It's just not done.
They don't do it, yeah.
The youngest players on this squad, at least
Xavi Simons, 22.
And we're Joral Hato, right, the Chelsea kid, and we're Case Smith from AZ Alkmaar.
Okay.
Those are young players that had recent call-ups, but you're not going to see youth here.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a lot of youth. You're going to see maybe some young 20s. And of the one player that I will say this, the one player that really needs to have a good World Cup is Mickey van de Vet, because his season for Tottenham has been swirling around the toilet bowl, and he's going down with the club. So he wants to bail out and get somewhere. And because his club form hasn't been great, I think he's gotten 2 red cards. He's gotten at least 1 red card this season. His discipline slipped. He needs to come out and have a really, really good banging game. Right. And then also I think Brian Brobby, who is also, he's 24 for Sunderland. If he just bangs him in, people will start going, huh? And then they'll get plucked out of Sunderland.
Can I ask, Frankie de Jong, is he been injured, or he's not been playing for Barca? Is he not an option here, do you think?
Well, I mean, he's always an option. I mean, that's the thing. When you look at whatever Dutch roster is posted at any given time, there's at least a good half dozen players that you're like, I wonder why they're not there. Well, they're not there because they can only put 24 on the damn thing or 28 on the damn thing, right? So at some point, you can't pick a player who's hurt or hasn't been getting playing time.
Yeah.
So,
too much depth.
That's what it comes down to.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, Hooligan, going through, I think we're both probably aligned here. We're both thinking Holland and Japan
I think it's the
are
Netherlands
to qualify.
and Japan.
Yeah.
Again, Sweden, they pull an upset. They pull something shocking, right? They could sneak in, but I don't see it. Not really seeing it in their future. I think they did a great job in qualifying. Kudos to them. Well done. But no, I don't think so. Right. The only thing is they do get to play Tunisia first. If they can beat Tunisia solidly, that's going to give them a nice boost.
Yeah.
That'll give them a big boost. But if they struggle against Tunisia, then that could weaken Potter's hold on them.
Interesting. Cool. Wonderful. Hooligan. Well, thank you as always. So that brings us up to the end of Group F. As always, like, follow, subscribe, share. And until the next time, we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Peace.